What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the Mets win 3-2 over the New York Yankees. Before we talk about the game, please be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. And what a absolutely chaotic game, where this game could have went one or two ways. Simply put, it was either we look back at this game as a game where the Mets absolutely piss all over themselves, like I'm talking complete urination all over their leg, between not capitalizing with runners in scoring position, whether it's Ottavino not giving you an inning of work, Quintana not giving you enough distance as well, and then on top of that, the bullpen being taxed heavily. There was just so much where you could have looked back, and then Alvarez too, there was a spot where he could have pinch hit, but didn't. So you look back at it potentially as that, or since they got the win, we look back at it as this was a game that, like, this is so ideal for the Mets for the remainder of, or for going into tomorrow's game, I should say, because you win a game after you had to fly in very late. Like, they got in at 5 a.m., which it surprised me. I thought the bats were going to be completely dead today, which they were at times, but the bats ended up contributing a good amount, at least. They got on base, but again, it's just with runners in scoring position, but that's defined the Mets in this slump, to be completely honest with you. And then you look back at this and say, the Mets forced the Yankees to use a lot of their high leverage guys like Tonkin, like Weaver, like Holmes, which is so weird to say Tonkin is a high leverage guy considering the fact that he was just terrible here, like vomit worthy stuff. But regardless, you got the Yankees to use their high leverage guys today. You used your lower leverage guys outside of Nunez. So now you got some ammo tomorrow. Granted, it is going to be a little tough because you're working with Danny Young, Edwin Diaz, who thankfully you were able to avoid today. Because I thought for sure he was going to have to come into this game. And I know his pitch count was high, but I was like, you have to do it. You cannot have Danny Young or Jake Diekman close this game. And Jake Diekman closed the game, and nobody wanted it to happen, but it did. And sure enough, we'll talk about Diekman in a minute, but again, just absolutely chaotic because this could have went so south. But now you save some ammo with, I don't know if Jose Burro's going to pitch next game. I would have to imagine they're going to option one of these arms though, because, or DFA, like Ottavino at this point, you got to cut ties, man. Like, just DFA him, get a fresh arm here anyway. Is it going to happen realistically? Probably not, but it's what should happen. But you look back at this and you say, you know what? They didn't have their best in terms of their offense. They didn't have their best pitching available, and they still end up getting the W. So there's a lot of positives to take away from that. We'll talk about the game, though, now. First inning, the Mets go down in order, and very ugly at-bats with Lindor and Martinez with pretty ugly strikeouts, and then Nimmo, too, unfortunately popping out there. But I was like, from the first inning, I got the vibe that this was going to be a game that was going to be played poorly by the Mets offense, because again, it's justifiable that, and I hate to keep bringing it up because I'm someone that does not like to be the one to roll out excuses and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you're professional athletes and you have to go out there and compete regardless of the circumstances. But it is a pretty valid excuse here. Like, again, normally I don't like to be like that, because when people blame officiating and stuff like that, usually I'm the guy that's like, you're out there and you have to find a way regardless. But because at some point, sometimes we have it our way with the officials where they're on our side and other teams are pissed off. But some days you got to just figure it out. And this was one of those nights where the Mets just had to, which I will say, though, the Marlins, because I think the Marlins got to pick the time of that game. Why is that allowed? Like, why is it that they were allowed to schedule that game for 6:40, knowing the Mets had to travel, or if it was the MLB, whoever it was that scheduled that game for 6:40 last night, or 7 o'clock, whatever the hell it was. Just stupid. But I'm done ranting about that. Let's talk about the game, because either way they won. I shouldn't be angry about that. It's just a bit annoying because of the fact that things could have went south here. But bottom of the first, Jones grounds out, Soto grounds out, and get familiar with hearing this. Judge walks, and then JD Davis strikes out on some ugly pitches. I did not miss one bit of JD Davis swinging at curveballs low in the zone, getting fastballs blown by him, not knowing what to do. I just did not miss any of that. So it was nice to be on the other end of it. Top of the second, though, Mets go down order. The bottom of the second, Volpe pops out. Gleyber Torres with a home run, 1-0. Verdugo walks. Narvaez strikes out, not Omar. And then LeMahieu with a single. And I got worried that here we go. This is going to be where Katana hits the roadblock because it's just always early in the game with him. But then thankfully he strikes out Jones to end the inning. But Yankee Stadium special with that home run, unfortunately. We get to the third inning, though, where Torrens walks. Taylor strikes out, Bader with a line out, and then Lindor with a double, and Nimmo grounds out to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the third. Soto grounds out. Judge walks because, again, just pitch around the guy. We don't want to face you. We don't want any part of you. And J.D. Davis hits into a double play because we want a part of that because we know what it's like to have J.D. Davis ruin rallies left and right, which... hey, they are accustomed to that. Fourth inning, though, the Mets go down in order, which, again, JD Martinez, we got to have a conversation about him after, towards the end of this video. But fourth inning, Volpe with a single, Quintana then with a wild pitch, Gleyber with a walk, Verdugo with a sacrifice bunt, and then a strikeout, a fly to end the inning. So Quintana at least working out of jams, like that's something you could take away as a positive there. But then we get to the fifth inning, and this was just... again, this has just been my issue with this team as of lately, where just capitalize with guys and runners, capitalize with guys in scoring position, runners in scoring position. Jeff McNeil and Luis Torrens each get a single, and then Tyrone Taylor gets a single that should have been a double in left field, but Jeff McNeil was waiting the tag because he thought that ball could have been caught. No way, man. You gotta have way more awareness there. You gotta... and the third base coach has to have way more awareness there. You got to be running there. And that should have easily been at least one run. But thankfully, it didn't matter because after Bader flies out, Lindor gets hit by a pitch. But Nimmo then strikes out and Martinez flies out, which is just killing them. That these guys at the top of the order are just not getting it done right now. And that's really the biggest issue. Like, your bottom of the lineup is contributing. Like, they're getting on base. It's just the top of the order when it rolls over. Outside of Francisco Lindor, guys are being way too inconsistent. Brandon Nimmo's in way too much of a rut right now. JD Martinez in way too much of a rut right now, especially him. Alonso had a way better day at the plate, but he's still been streaky for the most part this season. So, again, can you... like, I'm trying to be a little bit more positive on that front, but it's a little bit of a worry. Like, I won't lie here. I'm not full on hitting the panic button yet with those guys, but it's a problem right now. It's definitely a problem. And I don't think that anyone could disagree with that. Jones then strikes out. Soto lines out. Judge with a walk, and then J.D. Davis strikes out. We go to the sixth inning where Tonkin comes in, and Alonso rips a double, which was nice to see. Vientos lines out, and then Jeff McNeil just hitting for power now, hits a home run. Good thing he was moved up in the order because he gets that home run with a guy on base, and all of a sudden he has just been absolutely clutch right now for this team. And who would have thought? I mean, I said in my podcast I did prior to the second half starting that McNeil needs to just be league average. I mean, this is better. And this is where you have the uncomfortable conversation, though, because the deadline's approaching, and do you move him while... you know, he does have some value getting boosted here, or do you go the route of keeping him and hoping that the fact that he's trying to hit the ball harder is going to help? And maybe it is helping, and I mean, right now we're seeing the results at least, and it's working. We'll have to see what happens down the road here, because who knows if it's sustainable. But again, we will see what happens. I don't know if they're going to move him realistically either way. But it's nice to see Jeff McNeil doing this. Torrens grounds out. Taylor with a strikeout. Ottavino then comes in. Again, this is where you just get absolutely annoyed because you needed to get out of this... You need to get an inning here from Ottavino. Volpe with a single, Torres with a ground out, Verdugo with a double to make it 3-2. And then Alex Young has to come in, gets the 2 outs, gives us a little heart attack, especially the Wells at bat. But you need Ottavino to get you outs, and he's just not doing it. If he can't complete an inning, he shouldn't be on the roster. You need guys that are going to eat innings. And Adam Ottavino is not eating innings. So we get to the 7th inning, though. The Mets go down in order. Nunez then comes in. Grisham gets on from an error. A wild pitch then. So then strikes out. Judge gets intentionally walked. Ben Rice flies out. Almost hit a home run, which gave me a heart attack. And then you have Volpe, who hit into a force out there. Which, by the way, no, it wasn't that bad. I was confusing the at-bats there. Sorry. But regardless, no, the Ben Rice one, yeah, that's where I got confused. The Ben Rice one, I do have to say, Harrison Bader, I am so thankful for his defense, because in years prior, whoever that is roaming out in center field, whether it's Nimmo or Mark Canna even, like, they're not making that catch, and that could have been very ugly right there. But Volpe then hit into the force out. Nunez gets out of it, and it ruined what I thought was going to be the plan, where Nunez gets 2 innings, and then you just go about your business. But we get to the 8th inning, where Martinez grounds out. Alonso with a single. Vientos with a big double. But again, it's just annoying because Iglesias comes in the pitch run. McNeil walks, and then Torrens and Taylor each strike out. And it's just so annoying that you can't capitalize there. And when they didn't capitalize there, I'm not going to lie, I lost a lot of confidence. I thought you pissed on yourself there. Like, if you had to break the game open there, man. And then Maton comes in, gets a strikeout, gets a ground out, walks Wells. That's where I think the scare was, where it was a foul ball there. But I thought that was leaving the yard. But Mayhew then hits into a force out. So Maton, not the worst, not the best, but you absolutely take it. And then Clay Holmes comes in. Bader gets on from an error. Lindor strikes out, and then Bader gets caught running the third. I don't understand that. And then Nimmo flies out. And Jake Diekman comes into the game. And everybody's just hammering Yankees money line at that point. And you can't blame them, to be honest with you. But gets Grisham the fly out. Soto walks, and you're like, yeah. Judge up. You have to pitch to him. Wraps. We're done here. And somehow he gets Aaron Judge to go down looking. And that was the best I've seen Jake Diekman in an at-bat, going against an at-bat in a Mets uniform. And it took until July 23rd, but it happened. And then Ben Rice grounds out, and they win the game. I'm still just stunned that Jake Diekman did that and recorded the save, but you got the save there. Again, 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, needs to be better. And then you have the pitching, which gives us a heart attack. But for the most part, they got their job done outside of Ottavino. Like, everyone else recorded outs that they needed to. Maybe looking back, you could have asked Young to give you another batter or two, and then Nunez could, go a little bit later. But I get it too, because I think that was a little bit of a higher leverage spot where you wanted Nunez. So I get it there. I can't, gripe on that too much. But regardless, when Torrens was up with the bases loaded, that was the spot where everyone was like, you gotta put Alvarez up there. We know he's been struggling, but you gotta put him up there, which I didn't like that from Mendoza. Outside of that, I really liked a lot of the decisions he made today, and I thought he did a solid job considering what he had. But yeah, you had Quintana give you just a weird start. He had 5 walks, but like 2 or 3 of them were to Judge. So it's hard to take those into consideration. 6 strikeouts, but somehow he's out by the 5th inning. I don't know. It's like, why'd they even waste pitches there? Why didn't you just actually walk Judge? I don't get it. But regardless, it is what it is. And nothing you can do about it. You won the game anyway. But there's definitely got to be a conversation to be had about something changing maybe in the 3-hole. I'm sorry, but this Martinez slump is just going on for way too long. It's getting to the point where in his last 15 games, he's got a 226 slugging, a 227 on base percentage, 189 average, and 0 home runs in his last 15 games. We got to have a conversation here about potentially putting Vientos in the 3-hole or somebody else, because it's a problem right now that he's coming up to spots with runners in scoring position and He's not getting the job done. Not, but I don't want to go full panic button here. Like, I think that maybe you just make a little swap. You put Vientos in the 3 hole. You get Martinez in the 5 hole. And I think that can maybe change things a bit. But I don't know. Something might have to change there because it's getting very worrisome for me personally. But again, maybe that's a conversation for another day. And tonight's not the night. But especially when they got the win. But in terms of other news, very unfortunate news. Christian Scott, UCL injury. There was a scare last year, which is making me automatically go to my paranoid brain, which is saying he's going to need Tommy John. And my opinion on this is, listen, I don't want a guy to get Tommy John, especially Christian Scott, who is very valuable. All I could say is this, though. At some point, he's probably going to need Tommy John surgery. He's going to need it. I'd rather it be now than when this team is in the middle of trying to win a division down the road in the future in 2026 or 2027 when they're trying to win the division. I don't want them to have to worry about Christian Scott's elbow just completely blowing up. So if it's going to happen, I'd rather it happen now. But again, obviously I don't want it to happen, and it's just unfortunate because with Senga coming back, you're like, yes, we get the 6-man rotation, and now it's like, okay, maybe not. Unless Budo's moving back, and that's, again, back to the conversation where you're going to have to get some fresh bullpen arms up here, but I don't know, tonight's like tonight where it's like, how are you even going to run with a 6-man rotation? Because this is just not it, but either that or Tyler McGill, maybe, I don't know, but that part worries me. But again, I guess that's a conversation to have on a night that's more of a down because the Mets got the win at the end of the day, and who am I to bring it down? Because this was a very important win. Because I said it with the Marlins series. I know I didn't finish recapping that. Thank you to Matt for filling in for me with that. But my vibe was, all right, you split the Marlins, you have to sweep the Yankees here, and you already got one of the 2 wins. Now you have to win. Like, you really have to win tomorrow, and you head into that Atlanta series potentially 1 game behind them. That could be very intriguing. Very intriguing, but that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.